Welcome to Community Corner, where we highlight local organizations doing good in our community. Today, we are shining a light on Giraffe Laugh Early Learning Centers. They're dedicated to providing quality early care and education for children in the Treasure Valley, regardless of family's income. And we are so excited to talk more about this. So really quick, I would love to know what really inspired the creation of Giraffe Laugh, and most importantly, why is early education so darn important?
That's a really loaded question because, yeah, I think in the most important thing to answer is why is it so important? In those first 5 years, a little baby's born and their brain is only 25% developed. And by the time they head off to kindergarten at 5 years old, it's 90% developed. So you can just imagine the sort of impact we have in those first 5 years. And I was an educator. I was in elementary ed. And when I had a child, I thought, gosh, maybe I ought to be in early childhood, and realized that that's really where all the magic happened. And I could, you know, make a difference in young kids' lives and prepare them for school. And so Giraffe Laugh got started just out of a need for quality early care and drop-in care too. We pretty much cover the gamut and do it all.
Okay, and so the idea then, I guess, kind of came from this need that you saw, especially as an educator. So now you also have some centers in Boise and Kuna. Let's talk about this expansion and how that's actually going to help meet the growing need of childcare and early education in those communities in particular.
Well, we're super excited because in the last year we're going to or in the next year, we'll be able to double our impact to about 340 children across the Treasure Valley. And in childcare, or in actually our whole nation, but in Idaho, we do have a crisis right now where we don't have enough seats. And so being able to provide for people that have the least access, which is our low to moderate income families and you know, people just living paycheck to paycheck, being able to access that sort of quality is just so profound for families.
Yes, absolutely. And just to have that support period is so profound.
Right.
It doesn't take, it's not breaking news when I say childcare is expensive, right? And finding good childcare too, where a family feels safe with somebody taking care of their child, and also focusing on the education. That's amazing. So let's talk about some of the unique services though that Giraffe Laugh offers.
Sure.
In particular, the tuition relief scholarships and also the on-site food pantry too.
Right. So meeting people where they are, right? You're there every day dropping your child off or picking up. If you're able to go to the food pantry and choose what you need, or your child gets to choose what they want, or whatever the case may be, it's just great to be able to kind of stock up, and there's no shame in it. You know, we have regular income families and we have very low to moderate income families, and anyone can access food because everyone needs it, right? It's one of the foundational pieces of our lives. Beyond that, the scholarships, what that does is it just levels that playing field. So for someone that wouldn't ever be able to afford our typical tuition, like some parents can, there's that relief where they're not paying the full price, but they're still able to participate and enroll their child. And what a great way to change outcomes for children. Unfortunately, what happens with children that are living in more low to moderate income families, only about 1 in 4 of them are prepared when they head to kindergarten. And only about half of all children in Idaho are ready when they enter kindergarten, period. So being able to move that dial and really provide that support families need when they're young and when their children are young, but also preparing them for kindergarten, it just changes the trajectory of children's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean that foundation, right? You're providing that much needed foundation, and it's a domino effect.
Right.
You know, when you're able to do that at such a early age, then you're also addressing likely some of the issues that we see that happen further down the road, especially with reading development, right? Like that whole need to catch up by 3rd grade. And when that foundation can begin early, so profound.
You're so spot on. Because when children are prepared for kindergarten, they are way more likely to be on reading level by 3rd grade, which means they're going to finish high school and maybe go on to trades or, you know, college and be successful adults.
That is so.
That's what we all want.
Yeah, it's exactly what we want, because successful adults then equal a successful community.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I'm so glad you saw this calling as an educator yourself, right? You saw that need, so you stepped out and you decided to create this opportunity for those who need it most. So I would love to hear, though, about some really rewarding success stories that you've seen when it comes to children and their families that have been supported by Giraffe Laugh.
I think there's just so many. It's hard, you know, and there's these little faces just kind of, you know, come across my screen. But there's one in particular that he was in a situation that was really substandard, and his mom went to pick him up, and he was wet from not having his diaper changed all day, and just, you know, clearly not a good situation for him. And she called us, and we had already put him on the waiting list, but we didn't really have room. And she was just sobbing and said, I can't, I'm going to lose my job. What am I going to do? And so we were like, okay, we've just got to take this one more, you know, one more little person. And he just began to thrive. She said the first day that she picked him up, she was so excited because he was sitting on the provider's lap, and she was reading him a book, and he was starting to just, you know, smile, and she started to really have hope.
No.
And that person became one of our board members. She got very involved, and when she told her son this story when he graduated from high school, he got all teary-eyed and said, what would have happened to us, Mom, if they had said no?
Yes.
And he has since gone on to college, majoring in engineering, and I know.
That's making me tear up as a mama. I can just imagine. Okay, so how can people lean in? How can they support Giraffe Laugh so other families can see this type of success?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for asking. Following us on social media, definitely going to our website, giraffelaugh.org. We have a wonderful event coming up in April. It's called Jump into Spring, and it's April 11th. And it's at Jump, and it's Embrace Your Inner Child. We thought it'd be a lot of fun, so be childish and join us. That's always great. But I think when you go to our website, you'll see a lot of opportunities for engagement, including volunteers. We always need volunteers. Getting involved in our capital campaign, and just so much more.
Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate what you're doing here for our community. Everyone stick around. More to come here on Idaho Today right after the break.